Hey everyone, welcome back to the Sister Snatched Mindset. This is Riya Malhotra, founder of Sister Snatch. And today I want to talk about something we don't say out loud enough: power. Because most women don't actually fear power itself. What we fear are the consequences of having it: being misunderstood, being called too much, being judged, or losing people we care about. I've actually seen this in my own life, especially business. I have sat in rooms filled with women who are capable, talented, and so intelligent, but still playing small, still choosing silence over clarity, still choosing comfort over truth. And it's not because they don't have power, it's because they have been taught to fear it. So today I'm sharing 6 habits of women who don't fear power. Not because they're fearless, but because they've made peace with who they are. And if even one habit hits you, I want you to stay till the end because this video is for you. Number 1, they say what everyone's thinking but too afraid to say it. Women who don't fear power have a very different relationship with silence. When something feels off in a meeting, a partnership, a family situation, or even in a relationship, they don't sit there pretending everything is fine. They don't carry discomfort for the entire room just to keep things nice. They notice the tension, they acknowledge it, and they say the thing that's hanging in the air. Not aggressively, not emotionally, or to shock people, but calmly and clearly. Because they understand something very important: silence doesn't actually keep pace. It postpones conflict, and the longer you postpone it, the heavier it becomes. I have learned this the hard way. Avoiding conversations don't just make problems disappear, it just makes them more complicated later. The moment you start speaking honestly, even if it's uncomfortable for a minute, things start moving forward again. That willingness to speak first, to say what others are afraid to, is a form of power most people underestimate. The second one is they stop apologizing for knowing their shit. Another habit that really stands out is this: women who don't fear power stop apologizing for their intelligence, their experience, and their opinions. They don't start every sentence with sorry. They don't over explain just to sound polite. And they especially don't shrink their thoughts to make others comfortable. Not because they're arrogant, but because they have earned their confidence. They have learned through mistakes, through real world experiences, through showing up on days they did not feel ready. So when they speak with calm certainty. They don't announce confidence or they don't try to prove it. It shows in their posture, in their tone, and in the way they don't rush their words. Here's what I've noticed: the moment you stop apologizing for knowing what you know, people around you automatically start taking you more seriously. Not because you changed, but because your energy did. Number 3, they share their real story and not just a highlight reel. Women who don't fear power aren't trying to look perfect. They're trying to be real. They talk about confusions, the self doubt, the bad decisions, the phase where nothing made sense or where no one was clapping. Because they understand something most people forget: perfection creates distance, but honesty creates connection. When you only show your wins, people are going to admire you from far away. But when you start sharing your real journey, that's when people trust you. I've seen this again and again. The moments that resonate the most aren't the most polished, successful stories. They are actually the messy ones. The ones where you admit that you don't have clarity, that you question yourself, that you stayed quite longer than you should have. Your story doesn't lose value because it wasn't smooth. It becomes stronger because it was real. And that kind of honesty, that's power. Fourth one, they embrace their rebel energy as a business asset. Most women who grew into power were once called difficult, intimidating, or too bold. And instead trying to fix that, they reframed it. They realized their rebel energy wasn't a flaw, it was leadership in disguise. These women question systems that don't make sense. They don't follow rules blindly just because somebody's told them that's how it's done. They build differently, they think differently, and are especially not afraid to challenge outdated norms. Especially in business, this matters. Progress does not come from fitting in, it comes from standing out. That rebel mindset becomes an asset. It leads to innovations, stronger decisions, and original ideas. The very traits people once tried to suppress are often the same traits that later set these women apart. If you ever felt like you don't fit in, maybe you were meant to build on your own. The fifth one, and it's the most important one, and I've been talking about it, they trust their intuition over Instagram trends. Women who don't fear power listen to advice, but they don't live by trends. They don't build their lives or businesses based on what's popular this week or what looks good online. They check in with themselves first. They ask themselves, does this feel aligned? Does this make sense for me right now? Is this sustainable or just aesthetic? Because trends change, algorithms change, opinions change, but your intuition never changes. When you learn to trust your inner voice, you stop chasing validation and start building with intention. You move slower sometimes, but stronger. And that kind of self trust may be quiet, but it's incredibly powerful. The last one. They are not afraid to challenge the status quo. Finally, the women who don't fear power are comfortable being the ones who question normal. They don't accept things just because they've always been doing that way. They ask why. They ask you who decided this. They ask whether it still makes sense for them, for their values, or their future. And yes, it does make some people uncomfortable. But real change never comes from staying comfortable. Every shift, every improvement, every breakthrough starts with someone who is willing to challenge what everyone else accepts. These women aren't rebelling for attention. They're challenging things because they want better for themselves and also for the women coming after them. If you saw yourself in any of these habits, I want you to know this. You are not too much. You are not difficult. You are not intimidating. And you're just stepping into your power. And power doesn't change who you are. It reveals you. If this resonated with you, share this with another woman who needs this reminder. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.